I've got an elderly relative in my life who needs some money for him. Had the kidneys and I got to please send the check to me, please, thank you.
Or you could just send here through my bank account. Thank you.
Of course, we're all familiar with how prostitution is referred to as the world's oldest profession. But I beg to differ. You see, I would say that begging is the world's oldest profession. If only because prostitution was probably one smart woman's response to a man begging her for sex. But just because it's possibly the world's oldest profession, that doesn't mean that begging doesn't change with the times. And so, as for your potential financial benefit, this week I'll be reviewing internet begging. You think that since most of us are savvy to make $10,000 a week at home offers, penis prints email scams, and Nigerian enlargement pills and all the rest, that nobody would make any money doing this. Not so. In fact, it was only 8 years ago that internet begging got its first superstar, Karen Bosnack. A New Yorker working a high-paying television production job, Karen racked up $20,000 of credit card debt buying designer label products, then lost her job. After several months of having no luck finding another high-paying television job, Karen bought the web domain SaveKaren.com and launched a website where the idea was that everybody would donate a buck or two, and the sheer number of people donating would pay off her debt for her. Well, it was quite a success. Not only did Karen get people to pay off her debt for buying designer label products, she got a book deal and appeared on television several times to explain her project. Now, to be fair, she did stop accepting donations as soon as she met her goal of $20,000, and any further donations were put towards charity. Plus, she put up money-saving tips on her website, as well as little updates on how she was tightening her belt in lieu of her new financial situation. Nonetheless, something tells me that even in the glittering golden age of late 2002, there might have been some worthier causes for donating that money to than a fiscally irresponsible, out-of-work American woman who is qualified to work in a very high-paying industry. But I just can't seem to think of any. Can you? 8 years later, in no small part because of Karen's success, the field of internet begging is a lot more crowded, although practically no one has replicated that very success. In fact, much as you have services online like WordPress and Blogger that help less than web-savvy individuals provide us with a mixture of mundane personal details and free market research, you now have services that facilitate online begging in the same way. Some websites do offer to help hook up people who need money with people who want to give it, but the majority actually take a cut of the beggar's earnings, which lands you somewhere on that handful of minutes classiness scale between dictators who use UNICEF pennies to pay their soldiers and people who wipe their mouths with their shirts. Not to mention the obvious worry that seemingly genuine pleas might really translate into, oh, say, this? That being said, I can see the appeal for those who are really in need. First up, it means you don't actually have to sit outside for all hours and all weather. Secondly, if you're worried about your reputation, then the anonymity saves that from taking a kicking. And finally, it's a good protection against any prejudices that people might have. I mean, if you're going down the street and you see somebody that looks like, you know, maybe they're kind of more clean cut than you think a homeless person should be, you might be less likely to donate. And thus, the advantage is, of course, that it's a lot easier to prejudge this guy than it is this guy. I'm just saying, I don't want faceless people teaching in my schools. Like prostitution, begging is never going away, and I think online begging is a perfectly acceptable option. But perhaps the government, or at least a very well-regulated company, could try and provide a service like cyberbeg.com that allows people to beg safely and anonymously, but also provides a seal of authentication so that donors know that they're helping out their fellow man to fill his or her stomach, and not to launch a business where they want to build the better birdhouse to keep squirrels out of the feed.
Fun handful of minutes facts. It turns out that narration is the world's third oldest profession. It turns out that guy begging for sex was narratophile. I tell you, if providing running narration for the sex you're having is wrong, then I do not want to be right.